particularly in the West. In February of this year, TOS launched the TOS Invest product from its app to provide Koreans with access to mobile brokerage services. We kind of view this as a really interesting product, mostly because of its very fast adoption and user growth. It took about 7 years for the largest retail brokerage in Korea to reach 2 million accounts, 2 years for Robinhood to reach the same number. But TOS basically was able to achieve 2 million users in less than 2 months. And basically from 2019 to 2020 and onwards, we've seen growth in South Korean retail trading significantly. The numbers have kind of only increased as a result of the COVID pandemic, as there's kind of been a mimicking effect of the Wall Street bets phenomenon in South Korea. But the kind of distinction here is that while fees are waived on TOS Invest for the first 6 months, in the future, this is going to be a commission-based product with a very small commission fee per trade, which is essentially a way of TOS Securities to kind of differentiate itself from the more gambling-focused brokerage products that are on the market, really discouraging frequent trading, but kind of encouraging financial education on the app through different content series. And the company is also starting to issue fractional shares in US stocks and ETFs, which is proven very popular with Korean investors. So we mentioned that all of this kind of takes place in the single mobile app. This is a very kind of important aspect of TOS as they kind of expand the company out and attract more and more users. In essence, the kind of existence of a super app means that everything is native for consumers on a single app. There's kind of no need to download additional products or create accounts elsewhere. It becomes really easy for users to cross-pollinate between products. So, once the company launches a new product, it already has kind of a very significant user base that means really quick growth for the product, and the data that the company is able to gather means that products kind of inform each other and provide an important flywheel effect for the company to create product improvement. Moving on to the business side of the product, we talked a little bit about how TOS sees equal opportunity between consumer and business services in fintech. So TOS basically acquired the second largest payment gateway provider in the country, and rebranded it to TOS Payments to facilitate the acceleration of its mobile wallet product. So in essence, the company is now vertically integrated in that respect, where consumers using the mobile wallet product and paying on merchant platforms that use TOS Payments, means that TOS is able to capture the entire kind of economic value of the transaction without outsourcing it to other payment providers or mobile wallet providers. So this is a pretty significant opportunity and portion of the fintech TAM. There's about $450 billion in annual payment processing transaction volume. So with that market being incredibly fragmented, as TOS is able to integrate more and more merchants offline to its product and grow market share, the company expects to kind of achieve revenue growth pretty on an accelerated timeline with that product. In 2020, the company also launched in Vietnam. Vietnam is the first international market where TOS has expanded, and currently, the app is a little bit of a pared down version with just no fee money transfers, debit cards, and a financial dashboard. But right now, there are over 3 million monthly users in Vietnam after a very brief kind of introductory period with over 500,000 active users being added every month. Currently, the TOS mobile app is the #3 ranked finance app in Vietnam's Google Play Store. The Vietnam expansion has been really important for the company to kind of move out from its Korean base and get more and more data on its user bases, and obviously expand revenue by launching internationally. So the 3 largest fintech firms in Korea, Kakao, Naver, and Coupang, are, I would say, fintech adjacent, but don't necessarily offer the same level of services that TOS does. Kakao has its spin-off products as Kakao Pay, which is kind of a wallet app, and Kakao Bank is mobile banking. The two have recently been kind of spun off from the parent company, and Kakao Bank has an enterprise value of $24 billion, which is significantly higher than obviously what TOS has right now. Naver has its own payment product and is kind of basically the online equivalent of Google in South Korea. Has a enterprise value of about $51 billion, and Coupang also has a payment product. So really kind of what we've seen is these digital companies in South Korea trying to capture more of the payment process without necessarily providing additional fintech services, which TOS has been able to kind of offer to consumers, and then acquire more and more of the wallet business through that single app ecosystem. So as a result, the company has been able to achieve basically a user advantage by attracting users with its more expansive product suite, but also a demographic advantage with popularity, much higher popularity with consumers in their 20s and 30s. So when we compare out the individual public companies, we see that TOS is being valued kind of on a significantly cheaper basis than both Kakao Bank and Kakao Pay, with much higher revenue growth year over year, and a higher user base than the Kakao Bank product offers. So that EV to sales multiple provides kind of a really nice benchmark of where those mature and slower growing tech giants in South Korea are. The public multiples for fintechs in South Korea tend to be significantly higher at that 76 to 77 times forward sale or current year sales rate. So the company achieved about $330 million in 2020 sales. The estimation from the company is about $850 million in 2021 sales, which comes out to about 1 trillion won. The $61.5 million operating loss in 2020 represented a 37% improvement on their 2019 number. The app has over 20 million users in South Korea with a 55% monthly active user rate. Sales growth year over year is really impressive at a triple-digit pace, and that has been steady over the prior 3 years. And the expectation going forward is that the company will continue to have triple-digit sales growth into the future. So, like I mentioned, this is a company that we're really excited about, we think has kind of the potential to experience quite a bit of valuation expansion as it goes public, continues to grow at a very high clip, expanded to new markets, new products, and we're offering it at a discount compared to all of the other secondary brokers out there. So, we are starting to aggregate smaller checks. So if it's something that you're curious about, please feel free to ask questions, because this one might not be around for much longer. So really excited about TOS. Feel free to go ahead and ask any questions if you guys have them. And you guys can either unmute yourselves, raise your hands, or go ahead and put any questions that you have in the chat. Well, it doesn't seem like there are any questions out there. If anything comes to you guys, feel free to shoot it in the chat. And finally, on the topic of exit opportunities, I also wanted to bring up Byjus, a company that has previously made its ambitions to go public next year very, very clear. The expectation is that the company is going to go public in 2022. Discussions have already been held about valuation between Byjus corporate and its primary bankers. Right now, Morgan Stanley looks like the most likely company to book lead the IPO. And discussions about valuation have kind of ranged between $40 to $45 billion. Most recently, the company raised equity at a $21 billion valuation, and that was from the Chan Zuckerberg Institute. And as recently as this month, Morgan Stanley book ran with JP Morgan for the company as it raised a $1 billion loan facility. So there's quite a bit of opportunity here in the edtech space in India. We know that India is obviously one of the largest countries in the world, with an aspiring middle class that views education as kind of the key to upward mobility. So there are strong cultural factors that are really propelling Byjus' rise right now. So like I mentioned, we're selling at a $15 billion valuation. The company was most recently valued at $21 billion in its latest equity raise, and has had discussions about IPO valuation of $40 to $45 billion, but most likely in 2022. So if this is something that you guys might be interested in, please let me know. This one definitely won't be around for much longer, but it is something that we're very excited about and have allocated a position in the MX50 fund towards. So happy to take any questions that you guys might have on Byjus, or kind of go a little bit deeper depending on your interest right now. But please feel free to speak up if there are any questions. Right. Well, since there are no questions, just quickly wanted to run through some of the other opportunities that we have. There are a couple different blocks of Discord, which is a company that we've also previously invested in the MX50 fund. We've closed a recent investment in Epic Games. We're currently aggregating checks for another investment in SpaceX. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, please let us know, so we guys can get you in before that block closes. There are a number of really interesting companies, aside from the ones that I mentioned, but you know, the two deals that are the three deals that I'm probably of the strongest belief that there are exit opportunities in the next year will be Revolut and Byjus. So for those of you guys that are, you know, looking for companies that are likely to debut in the next year, those are two that I would definitely highlight on your list, and, you know, go do your due diligence about, talk to your LPs, whatever it might be. And then in terms of, you know, companies that offer the strongest multiple going forward in terms of return, I think that Toss is a really nice candidate there. So, you know, guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. Either raise your hand, unmute yourselves, or you can feel free to shoot me an email or a message on LinkedIn. More than happy to chat through any of the other things that we have going on. And as kind of a MarketX specific announcement, we will be doing a webinar next week and the week after, but December 14th will be our last webinar of the year as we kind of close out the 2021 webinar season, and start to prepare for our end of the year reports, LP letters, and kind of everything else to wrap the year up, as we know a number of you guys will be starting to take off work, enjoying time with family and taking vacation. You know, feel free to let me know if you guys have any questions about that, but that is just kind of what's going on right now. And if there's nothing else left, then I think, you know, conscious of time, I might end it here. So please let me know if there's anything else that you guys are curious about. Otherwise, you know, that'll be it for today.
Thanks, Jake.
No problem. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate it.